absolutely necessary that before you envision your future, it has to begin like a dream in your mind. The unfortunate problem of life is that most of us leave it at the dream level and do nothing about it. And those who succeed really do something about their dreams. They make them into visions, and then they work towards making the vision into reality. And which is why visioning is very, very critical for each one of us. Let me tell you the studies of Smith. Harvard Business School invited 25 professors to define what is success. They defined what is success, and they identified 500 people and organizations who fell into the definition of success. Some fell into the definition of success. Some did not fall into the definition of success. So they said, this is the definition of success. These companies fall into, and these people fall into definition of success. These people don't fall into definition of success. 5 years later, they revisited the same definition and went to the same companies who they had identified as successful and who they had identified as failing. And lots of them who were not there came into the list of successful. Lots of them who were successful fell off from the list of being successful. And when they did the analysis, there was only one common trend that they found in all of these companies. Significant vision precedes significant success. All those who were successful earlier, when they had a clear vision of the future and a plan as to how they wanted to tackle the future, they continued to be successful. Those who believed they were successful and they would continue to do the same thing without changing themselves in the future, failed. And those who were not successful, when they started envisioning and planning for the future and saying this is exactly how we want to work the future with a vision and our team of people, they actually entered the list of the successful people. And those who fell off from the list, they fell off like ninepins, like Humpty Dumpty. And all the king's horses and all the king's men could not put that Humpty Dumpty back again once it lost its position of pride. Therefore, the question is very simple, that if the analysis was found that all successful companies were successful because they had a very clear vision of the future and they had planned themselves, question is, if this is the finding, is it possible for all of you who are maybe not as successful, maybe not as big, and who are aspiring to become as big, is it not possible then by reverse logic to say that if we start envisioning our future, if we start working on trying to make our vision systematically into realities, we could actually become as successful as what we want to become. And therefore, vision is very, very critical for all of us. And they found this journey, and I don't want to do that. This is much more. I thought I would have a longer period of time, and I have a short period of time, so I don't want to bore you guys. But they found as to what the journey was. And I'll leave this presentation to you in case anyone wants to go through it at a later point of time. They systematically found what companies did. So it began like a journey in the mind. There was an image they had. The originators, the owners, the proprietors, maybe the families had a clear image. So they had an image in their mind as to what they wanted to do. They converted that image into material terminologies. What does it mean in revenues? What does it mean in EBITDA? What does it mean in return on capital employed? What does it mean in investments? What does it mean in so-and-so things? What kind of customers am I looking out for? So after they had that dream, they started defining the various matrices of what that reality would look like. Then they did the most critical thing, which most companies don't do. They called all their stakeholders, their employees, their customers, their suppliers, and they shared this vision with them. That this is what we want to do, this is how we want to look at it, and this is how we want you to tell us whether you are going to be our partners in this vision or not. So they developed a vision community. And then once they developed the vision community, they cumulatively developed a statement which was going to constantly remind them and tell them as to what is it that they had committed, and periodically keep reviewed and periodically kept working on it till their goals were achieved and till their visions become reality. There are several companies who love to take out these poetic statements and make it into a lovely frame and put it behind the walls of all their executives. Lovely slogans, motivating statements, customer is the king, so-and-so is so-and-so. We desire to do all of that. And it ultimately leaves only like a frame in the cabins of the chief executive officer, or like lovely statements on the stationery on the envelopes and letterheads, but has no real-time application. The difference between a slogan and a vision is the vision community that works on that vision to make that vision into a reality. It is not like a poetic statement which is only a frame or written on the stationery and envelopes to keep reminding you, and then after some point of time you don't know what to do with that vision. Those companies which have significant visions are the only ones who succeed. Those who do not have, they fall off, not knowing what they hit them. And all the king's horses and all the king's men will never be able to put that Humpty Dumpty back again. And that's a reality. Let us take 2 minutes on two very important studies. Fred Pollock, a social scientist, went into nations, went into societies to study that why did certain cultures, why did certain societies become more sustained and famous as compared to the other societies. And he came back with the same conclusion, that nations with visions are powerfully enabled. Nations without vision are at risk. Even nations have got a clear vision of what they want to achieve. And when cultures and societies have that vision and clarity, let me give you an example of what happened when I was a student of advanced management at the Wharton Business School. 12 years had passed. Goldman Sachs had said India was going to be a great country by 2025, fastest growing economy, blah, blah, blah. China was on the top of it. After 12 years, Goldman Sachs visited both these companies, both these countries and the governments, and presented to us at the AMP program at the Wharton School. And they told us something which unfortunately I as a citizen of India felt very unhappy about. They said that when they went to China, the entire team was presented with a fantastic plan as to how they were going to work, what was going to work, what was infrastructure going to do, how the government was going to make an investment. Unfortunately, they said that when they went to Mr. Vajpayee's government and asked, sir, we want to now review and write a new report to say what is going to happen. Unfortunately, he was told, we cannot give you any real-time solid plan because we don't even know whether we are going to be in the government in the next election time. And that is what the message was. That unless you have a sustainable vision which is going to be continued in the long term of the life of an enterprise, it will not be a sustainable vision. And which is why nations with visions have their successes. Viktor Frankl, what should you have? So what should vision be looking at? What should you look at when you make a vision of your enterprise? And of course, this is a very small session of half an hour that I'm trying to focus on. I actually run sessions for 2 days, helping the organizations and the stakeholders to develop their own vision statements, because you can't develop it like this. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist. He was put in concentration camp. He was a Jew. Millions of people were killed in concentration camps. Thousands of them committed suicide. People died. And he started saying, some people I saw were surviving, handful of them, and there were some others who were not. He went and then he asked them what is it that they were doing, and he found finally that those who were surviving were people who had something significant yet to be done in the future. There was one person who was doing a research, and he believed that his research would remain incomplete if he died, and therefore he wanted to live so that he could come out of the concentration camp and complete that research, and so that the world would know what he's doing. The other said, I have a grandson and it is my keen desire to see my grandson. Something significant he had yet remaining to be done. Likewise, it is when you develop a vision statement, even if you are the most successful enterprise in the world, unless there is something significantly meaningful yet to be done by your enterprise, and that is what is encapsulated in your vision statement, your vision statement will not be able to stand the test of the changing environment. It is very necessary for this organization, particularly because you are dealing with customs, particularly because you are working in an environment where the laws are changing and making it so very easy. Particularly at an environment when entire thing is getting networked in such a way that possibly the intermediary's need is not going to be as high as it is going to be. It is at this point of time that the industry needs to reinvent itself. It needs to redefine itself. It needs to decide for itself what it wants to be in future. It therefore needs to envision itself so that it finds a survival in the future, so that it has a plan for the future, and so that that future can become a reality. What is a vision statement? A comprehensive and inspiring expression of the desired destination that a group has spiritually agreed to reach, and around the fulfillment of which is the collective energy of the ecosystem. So it's not only a statement. We'll see what it goes in. It has to be developed by the leader. The leader cannot say that, okay, I'm not going to develop, someday out of somewhere we will call someone who will say, this is your vision statement. Or God one day in his dreams is going to come and tell me what my vision statement is going to be like. So the leader and his key people have to begin the process of defining what a good vision statement is about. But after that, what is important, that comprehensive and detailed statement has to be shared by the entire people. You have to sit in a process where everyone says yes or no. And you have to go with an open mind to say that he's going to challenge me and my percepts, and I'm going to get myself convinced or convince them as to why that vision statement is the entire vision statement of the ecosystem, because it is going to help me arrive at the destination. It has to be positive, it has to be inspiring, and that is what a vision statement is. Because that vision statement is constantly going to remind you to keep doing those things which are necessary for you to reinvent yourself, for you to reach the new destination that you want to reach. Otherwise, every day you will redefine a new destination. I have, of course, put up from some of your industry the vision statements of some of your top players in the market. And you will see the same thing. As I leave the presentation to you, you can see for yourself. Constantly people are confused. What is a vision? What is a mission? And what are values? And I'm going to not get into details of it, but just give you examples to understand. Vision is direction. Mission is the purpose. So let's imagine a lovely hill, like in the pictures you see, and there are 3 people who want to climb the hill. All of them want to go in the upward direction. So you define the direction. I want to go to this point, I want to go to this point, I want to go to this point in this way. You have come out of your house, you don't know whether you want to turn right or you don't know whether you want to turn left. Unless you know what is your destination, you don't know which direction to turn, right? It's not by toss of coin you decide I'll turn right or left. So vision is the direction. So if the 3 people were to climb the hills, they're all moving in the upward direction. Now one of them may be climbing the hill because doctor told him that there is a herb available on the top of the mountain which you need to consume for your health. The other may be climbing because the doctor may have said that you actually need exercise, so you should climb. The third may be going to see a beautiful sight from the top of the mountain. So all of them are going on top of the mountain, but each one has a different purpose. So you cannot copy vision statements of one company from another company and then say that this is my vision statement. It's never going to work for you because the missions are different. And the ecosystem buying in from your suppliers, from your vendors, from your employees, from your government are all going to be different. Therefore, understand your vision, define your mission with your group, and then get your values right. I will explain to you what are values for a minute. Values decide the rightness or the wrongness of your decision, of your direction. You may have decided to be a big rich man. You can become a businessman, earn your money, become big. You can become Dawood Ibrahim, have Dubai contacts, blackmail people, kill people, become rich. You may be something else. Values decide what is the domain that you are willing to go whilst you are achieving the purpose for which you are going there. So the values decide the rightness or the wrongness of the direction you have taken. You may say, I don't care till I reach my destination, I will adopt any values. Well, that's your call. That's the enterprise and that's your call and your character and your culture. But the question is, enterprise which have right values survive the tumultuous situations of different challenges that they face in the environment. Enterprise without values have very short-lived lives. And you are seeing now what is happening in the world around, where laws are becoming very firm. Nanavati Sahibji is going to talk about some elements of this, but values are very critical from that point of view. So a vision is like a rope. Each one of us is going to face our waters. Each one of us is going to face our rivers. Waters are going to be turbulent. Currents are going to be fast moving. We really don't know whether we will be able to, when we put our foot, whether we will be able to cross through or will not be able to cross through. Vision is like that rope which you see out there, which gives us the power to be connected to the reason why we are doing and why we are there. And when we are in the troubled waters and we don't know what to do, we look back to our vision and our direction and say, this is the direction I want to go. This is the direction that I had promised I will go. This is the way I want to reach where I am wanting to reach. And therefore it is like that rope which is helping you to reach the destination that you want to reach. I spoke about values. I want to show a little clip, which is only a 2-minute long clip. So please, if you will darken the light for only 2 minutes. And I want to show a 2-minute very important clip as to why it is important that we should do everything ourselves. Can you please darken the room? Yeah, it'll come.
Once upon a time, there was a wise man, much like Isley himself, who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach before he began his work. One day, he was walking along the shore. As he looked down the beach, he saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself to think of someone who would dance to the day. So he began to walk faster to catch up. As he got closer, he saw that it was a young man, and the young man wasn't dancing, but instead he was reaching down to the shore, picking up something, and very gently throwing it into the ocean. As he got closer, he called out, "Good morning, what are you doing?" The young man paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish in the ocean." "I guess I should have asked, why are you throwing starfish in the ocean?" "The sun is up, and the tide is going out, and if I don't throw them in, they'll die." "But young man, don't you realize that there are miles and miles of beach and starfish all along it? You can't possibly make a difference." The young man listened politely, then bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the sea, past the breaking waves. It made a difference for that one. His response surprised the man. He was upset. He didn't know how to reply. So instead he turned away and walked back to the cottage to begin his writings. All day long as he wrote, the image of that young man haunted him. He tried to ignore it, but the vision persisted. Finally, late in the afternoon, he realized that he, the scientist, he, the poet, had missed the essential nature of the young man's actions. Because he realized that what the young man was doing was choosing not to be an observer in the universe and watch it pass by, but was choosing to be an actor in the universe and make a difference. He was embarrassed. That night he went to bed, troubled. When morning came, he awoke, knowing that he had to do something. So he got up, put on his clothes, went to the beach, and found the young man. And with him, he spent the rest of the morning throwing starfish in the ocean. You see, what that young man's actions represents is something that is special in each and every one of us. We have all been gifted with the ability to make a difference. And if we can, like that young man, become aware of that gift, we gain, through the strength of our visions, the power to shape the future. And that is your challenge. That is my challenge. We must each find our starfish. And if we throw our stars wisely and well, I have no questions that the 21st century is going to be a wonderful place. Once upon a time, there was a wise man, much like Isaac himself, who used to go to the ocean to do his...
Sorry. Can we have the lights, please? So this is it. We each one have to learn how to find our stars and not want to become spectators in the drama of life, that all these changes are happening. Oh, what can I do about it? Well, unfortunately, we used to be the top players in the town. Now the laws have changed. Now this industry is gone. Now the travel agency is gone because everyone is going on to makemytrip.com. Who is going to come to me? It's all going to happen. The volatile markets are going to challenge each one of us. It is upon us to say, how shall we pick up our starfishes and throw it back into the ocean and say, we are wanting to make the difference. We will be different because we believe that if the world has to be an exciting place, we have to throw our starfish on. Hindu mythology has this character which is so peculiar of this quality. Hanuman. Blessed with this huge Pavanput capacity, Bahubali had all the strength, he was unfortunately cursed that he would constantly keep forgetting that he had those powers. And someone had to constantly remind him that, my lordship, you have that power, can you please use it? And then suddenly he will become powerful and use it. Each one of us is like that. We have got huge capacities hidden in ourselves. We need someone to constantly keep reminding, you are powerful. Find that little thing that you have which is hiding inside you and not wanting to come out, which insists that you become a spectator and not an actor. And the day you find that little capacity and you rise, you are going to be the winner of your future. And I would invite, therefore, each one of you to work towards defining your visions, to work towards finding out what your ambition is, to keep picking your starfishes, and to keep building the communities and keep throwing the starfish like a community back into the ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that beautifully and visually appealing presentation. Most importantly, for your wonderful points on the power of vision. We often know and we often believe that sight is what lies in front of us, but it is vision what lies ahead of us. So thank you once again, Mr. Adil, for those wonderful, wonderful words there. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are truly honored to have amongst us our chief guest for the evening, Justice G.T. Nanavati. I'd now like to invite Mr. Kurian Matthew, the advisor for FFAI, to introduce Justice Nanavati for all of us for this lovely evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, please first help me welcome Mr. Kurian Matthew.
Chairman Shantanu, the dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. The evening started off with the best in entrepreneurship, and you have heard and experienced the vision, the power of vision. Now, it's my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce somebody who has achieved all this and especially excellence in his profession and career. Justice Nanavati needs no introduction, but I have the privilege of formally introducing to you. News report on Nanavati Commission's inquiring into some of the key incidents affecting public life in India appear regularly in the media, be it print or electronic, for more than a decade. He's perhaps one of the more unique persons who has chaired 4 of the commissions in the country. For the benefit of all, I would like to briefly introduce you some of the key milestones of his career. Justice Nanavati hails from Gujarat. He completed his studies from Mumbai and started his profession at Bombay. and later moved to Gujarat after bifurcation of Mumbai High Court post before Gujarat High Court. In his early days of profession, he argued numerous matters before the Gujarat High Court in the matters pertaining to Constitution of India, tax laws, criminal laws, civil law, etc. Justice Nanavati was appointed as a judge of the Gujarat High Court at the age of 44. He served the cause of justice at different high courts and was appointed as Chief Justice of the Orissa High Court and later on Karnataka High Court. He was raised to the Supreme Court of India in 1995 and epitomized the respect he commanded amongst the legal fraternity and public life. He currently does international and national arbitration. His impeccable career spanning more than 50 years is a source of inspiration for young legal professionals who are there today. And it will continue to be so for generations to come. With this, we request Justice Nanavati to share his words of wisdom with this august audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Justice Nanavati.
Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I thank the chairman, office bearers, and all the members of the Federation for inviting me to be with you this evening and to participate in this convention. This is my first interaction with customs brokers or the freight, dealing with persons with the freight forwarding. And today I was briefed about the nature of the activity carried on by you and the role which you have to play while getting the goods cleared. Actually, before telling you or before going into the details, I will assure you that though this is supposed to be a knowledge session, I am not going to bother you with a deep dose of knowledge, but I will deal with two relevant aspects only arising out of the change in law. As you know, your status has changed from that of clearinghouse agents to customs brokers. And that raises, according to me, two important points which you should really consider seriously. One is regarding the role that you will have to play with the increased responsibilities. And secondly, you will have to consider the consequences of your inability to perform that role in a proper manner. To appreciate these two aspects properly, it is also necessary to keep in mind what is the nature of activity that you are carrying on. It is a part of a larger activity of economic activity of international trade. I was told that in fact 95% of the international trade is being handled by customs brokers all over the world. Earlier also there was international trade, but on a very, very small scale. with globalization, quick means of transport, easy communication, the international trade has been increasing at a very, very rapid rate. Not only in terms of volume, but also in terms of money. And that is the aspect which will create some problem for you people unless you become able to deal with that situation.